I will introduce myself, starting off. My name is Hemeltjen. I'm working at the Dutch Open Air Museum in Arnhem. We are, well, let's start at start. I'm working for the Dutch Center for Intangible Cultural Heritage. And that center is a department within the Dutch Open Air Museum. We have a bit of strange position. We implement the UNESCO Convention in the Netherlands. That's what the Dutch Center does. So we work for the whole of Holland, not only within the boundaries of the museum, but we work for the whole country. I was asked by the Dutch Center to start a project called Crafslab, and with the idea that we want to stimulate the crafts in the Netherlands, and also to give it a museum, a place within the museum, not only as a show of how it used to be in the past, but also what can be in the present and also to the future. Next to the running of the craft lab, we also made a film. Every lab is being filmed. I will show you only a part of the film, otherwise we'll be watching film all day. But I will show you how we started the whole process. The Craft Lab was meant to be as a starting project within the Open Air Museum. The Open Air Museum is a large collection of buildings, farm buildings of the Netherlands, mills, etc. But so it's a static collection. It's just buildings. And they do a little of showing, presenting the old crafts within the old farmhouses. But on the main level, it's a static collection and a static show. The Craft Lab was meant to bring in a new dynamic of looking again upon the crafts and giving it a place within the museum collection. That was our starting off point. Like I already said, filming was important for us in communicating to the spectators online, involving them, getting them connected to what we are doing. Also, we're using the films in a presentation. We organized a presentation within the museum walls. It's also a quite new experience for the Open Air Museum. They were very exhausted by my intention to start an exhibition. And next to it is also try to gain some interest from other museums. There are a lot of museums in Holland who are gathered around the crafts, ceramics, weavery in Tilburg. There are several, and we want to join them and join with them and work with them to organize a movement around the crafts. The Dutch Open Air Museum is quite a large museum. It's got about 170,000 objects, but the strange thing is that only 5% is visible, and that's mainly buildings. But we also have got a lot of cloth, jewelry, shoes, all-day objects like cups, saucers, cans, whatever. But they hardly ever shown within the presentations in the museum. It was a difficulty when I started the Craft Lab. In fact, I am my own division within the museum, and I didn't know to which department I had to connect, to presentation, collection, or preserving. No one took any interest in what I was doing. They were interested on the level, how interesting, you've got some new craftspeople brought into the museum, but were not interested in what we were doing and what the results were going to be. I'm still working on that. And so I had to talk to 3 different departments: buildings, collections, and presentations, in order to join them around the Crafslab. For us, as I said, Dutch Center for Cultural Heritage, it's important to work along with the UNESCO Convention. So we are trying to work on safeguarding, of course, and that's our starting point. That's where we start off with the Crafslab. We ask someone out of the crafts area, in this case it was stoelmatting, and we put people around it, artists, designers, and also schoolers who are just starting out in the crafts field. And we ask them to rethink, to reconsider the possibilities of a craft. Not only the old crafts questions, how the craft was started or founded, but how can you use a technique or a skill in the present time? What can you do with it? And how can you stand on the shoulder of the people from the past? Therefore, we put the people who join within the Crafslab, we put them in their own space, in their own room, not bothered by visitors, like until where visitors can walk around. We skip them all blindly in a room and let them work together and create together. Also with the idea that the outcome might be uncertain. You never know what the Crafslab is going to deliver you. It's going to be a bright idea, a nice product, but also, yeah, sometimes it's nothing. It's a creative process, and artists do know a creative process is bound to fail. Most of the times it fails. And that's a quality as well. That's very important, that your mistakes is, most of the time are the starting points of a new vision or a new idea. What are the benefits of the Crafslab to a museum and to the craft itself, of course? Of course, it's contributing to the safeguarding of ICH. It brings in a new field of artists and contemporary designers working with the crafts. Of course, that's important to transmit the knowledge and the skills. It shows the relevance of a craft in the here and the now. That's very important. And what we found out, and this probably also in Tilburg, you get a new audience. You get new people. A lot of designers are interested in crafts nowadays, and you can gather them around at your museum presentation. You get new interaction and new crossover, we hope. And also you stand above your museum. It's not only a museum task, but it's also a social task as well. I'm still on time? Yeah. For the museum, because like I was telling, the collection of the museum is quite static. Not a lot of changes over the years, and the Crafslab is giving the museum a new dynamic show, a new dynamic rhythm. This museum, the people I work with, my colleagues within the museum, are not used to that dynamic, but they also sense, they feel the sense of urge that some things need to be done. So slowly the collaboration is growing. Nowadays I'm working, of course, together with the curators. We go into the depots of the museum and to watch and to look upon the collection. And there is the presentation, the stage, the show is getting more important within the museum. Of course, we get some problems as well. It's not only positive news, of course. How do you finance such a Crafslab? Because it's an inquiry, it's a research program, and not everyone is interested in research if they're not immediately a good product at the end of the process. Yeah. So finance and the question of presentation versus safeguarding. Do you want a good show, or do you want to work on ICH safeguarding? Is still a question, and it's a dynamic process within the museum as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much.